Hi, welcome to Meal Mentor Live, where we interview customers that have used our meal plans or the blueprint to change their life. And so I'm Scott Nixon. I am one of the co-founders of Happy Herbivore and Meal Mentor. And today we are going to talk to Kirsten. And Kirsten actually was a blueprint member and then became a Meal Mentor member. So she just came to Meal Mentor in April, and we're going to bring her on now, and she's going to tell us her story. Kirsten, tell us how you kind of got started.
Hello. It's actually a long journey. I started going plant-based in 2012. I lost both my parents to cancer prior to that, and with my husband watched a lot of the documentaries, the health documentaries, and all the healthy eating documentaries, and it made a lot of sense. And so we kind of made some gradual changes in the beginning, cutting back on the processed food that we ate, the meat. My first thing that I did was I cut out dairy. I actually worked at an ice cream and dairy company, and I cut out dairy, which was challenging. But in the first month, I lost 5 pounds, and I noticed my face cleared up. I didn't have as many digestive issues that I think were attributed to the dairy. So I continued to do that and just kind of focused on the healthy eating. That February, I did a 28-day challenge that actually Engine 2 was running at Whole Foods, and progressively cut out meat, cut out oil, cut out the sugar, and by the end of that February, I was pretty much plant-based. Brought my husband along for the ride, so he's, he'll eat what I eat. Or what I cook, both basically. So I just kind of started that journey, and it took maybe about a year to year and a half, and I lost, maybe 15 pounds that, I really didn't know I needed to lose. Felt fantastic. Really, really felt good, just physically, emotionally, mentally, and really, really liked it. So it was just, that's kind of what I continue to do. Over the years, unfortunately, I got kind of lazy, got into the overeating aspect of things, happened to find an email that I just happened to open from Happy Herbivore I think it was in March, talking about the Shortcut to Slim Blueprint, and I was like, this might be what I need, and I started watching the videos, and I was like, oh, Steve, you're talking to me, I need to do this, so I did that, and then, did the blueprint for a couple weeks, and then, kind of kept going from there, and then she sent an email out to join Meal Mentor, and I was like, yeah, this is what I need. So this is where I'm at on my journey. It's
awesome.
Been a lot of fun.
So I want to get into ask you a little more about the blueprint. So what do you think, what was it that kind of, why did you make the choice then to do the blueprint? What was the thing that kind of triggered your kind of motivation, I guess?
I was part of the motivation was I was probably at my highest weight that I've ever been. I got tired of buying new pants, because nothing fit. I kept seeing myself in pictures, and I was like, oh, what? Who's that person? And it was just listening to the science, because I'm very science oriented, so I like nutrition, I like science. Everything that Lindsay talked about, the cost of digestion made sense. And it just fit right where I was at. It just came to me like right at the perfect time. I think if I had gotten it a couple months earlier, I might not have been emotionally ready for it. And I was just at that point, you know what, I got to do something. And this happened along. So it was a blessing.
Wow. Very, very cool. That's really great to hear. I liked what you said. You weren't emotionally ready. And it's interesting because you were even saying this, like you looked at yourself and you're like, this isn't who I really want to be. And so it's a really interesting kind of, and I totally connect with that, because like I've definitely seen that whenever I look at photos of me whenever I was heavier, and even when I gain a little weight and stuff like that, I totally connect with that idea that, like you're like, wait, that's not really who I want to be or who I see myself to be. I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. So with your blueprint experience, are you willing to talk about some of your results from that 2 or 3 week period?
Sure. Yeah. I actually within the first week, I think I lost the first 2 weeks, I think I lost 7 pounds.
Wow, nice.
It was really exciting. People at work that were struggling with their weight were like, oh, this is really great. It's really exciting. They didn't want to do the work for it. But it it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, because I just was really focused. And, just once you start losing that weight, I think, at least for me personally, it motivates me. And I'm like, I want to keep going. I want to keep going. And so I just kind of kept going and, was like, yeah, I like this. This is kind of fun. And,
awesome.
The food was great. Again, the food is awesome. And I think that's one of the things I really liked about the program was how easy the cooked meals were. I love to cook. And that was one of my challenges when I went plant-based years ago was finding how to cook plant-based. I was used to cooking chicken and meat and fish, and now I got to cook without oil, and I got to cook these plants. And once I found a bunch of cookbooks, I had the Happy Herbivore cookbooks and a lot of the other cookbooks, it became very easy. And I still love to cook, but I had gotten into a rut also. I think that was part of my problem. I was just in a rut. I was making the same food all the time. This was a really nice change because it was super, super easy ingredients, and it was filling and it tasted good. And I was like, it was just kind of the break I needed.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I want to encourage everybody who's watching, if you like to cook and if you've enjoyed the recipes, go ahead and like and thumbs up, because the whole point of this is we get this video out here so other people get to watch this video and they get to relate to these stories. So it's really important that we like and love this video so that we can get everybody involved. So I know it seems I kind of like to reinforce this point that hearing other people's stories are really important for us to be able to connect kind of on a weekly basis with this. Back to what you were saying, like you didn't like how you were seeing yourself, and so you have to kind of constantly once you get to a good place and you're happy and you're kind of on a pink cloud, so to speak, like to be able to reconnect to this idea that like I don't want to go back there, and so kind of getting these reminders and kind of involving yourself in the community and stuff really kind of it gives you a foundation, I think, is part of the thing, and it kind of keeps you on solid ground, so to speak, moving forward, so you don't go back into those old habits. And so one of the things I love to hear is to hear what people have struggled with. What are you struggling with today? What did you struggle with maybe when you first got started?
Chocolate. All chocolate. It's always been my struggle. And what it comes down to, and really kind of listening to a lot of the podcasts that Lindsay does, is it's the not eating biologically and the emotional tie that we have with food and eating emotionally. When I'm stressed, primarily when it's a good stress I eat just because I feel good and I'm like, oh, I want to reward myself and eat with food. And then if there's a lot of other stress going on, I tend to eat. So in the beginning of the blueprint, it was really just paying attention to my body and really paying attention to that hunger and that, yes, I can survive if I don't eat right away. And that's actually, I'm kind of right back there again now. I've been struggling for about the last month, just because I get so caught up in life, you get caught up in work, there's a lot going on, and you lose focus with yourself. And that's one of the things I like about the program and I like about the podcast and everything is it goes back to you as a person and that self-care and taking care of yourself. And that's when I'm really focused on myself and paying attention to my body, when I'm hungry, when I'm not hungry, what emotions are going on, that's when I'm really successful. So it is good to connect back and kind of work through that.
Can you give us a little more detail about emotions and triggering eating and stuff? I'm kind of curious what your experience has been.
Yeah, it's just, and it took me a long time to realize it. It wasn't until I really listened to Lindsay's podcast that, it's actually when you get ready to eat mindlessly, whether it's popcorn or chocolate or whatever, to actually stop and why am I doing this? Lindsay always talks about the why. Why am I doing this? And that's what I've started doing as myself. It's just, okay, even if I don't totally stop and I still go through and eat whatever I'm going to eat, I'm at least stopping and I'm recognizing, hey, why are you doing this? Oh, it's because I'm happy. Okay. And then, kind of going to that next level, why are you happy? Or it's why are you unhappy? And what do you need to do to take care of yourself to get refocused? So it's just kind of those whys and really stopping. I think we get so busy, we get wrapped up in things that we just want to go. And, especially, different work environments, there's a lot going on and you just kind of have to really stop, force yourself and say, think. Just
Yeah.
slow down, and it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it can be so much of a habit. It's like, well, there's, it's like I've finished dinner and now I get to have my treat, or
Right.
We're at somebody's having a birthday at work and I get to have my treat, and
Right.
it really is very habit based a lot of times, and but also the reward. And we got a bunch of comments in here. Claudia says food as a reward is probably my biggest issue, and if that's a big issue for you, love this video. I mean, I definitely reward myself, and I want to reward myself every day and sometimes multiple times a day.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. So you said in the last month you've been struggling a little bit with kind of keeping on the diet, and so how will you get yourself back onto the program more regularly, or eating more consistently with your values?
It's just constant focus. Actually, I'm a member of the Facebook, page for Meal Mentor and the Shortcut to Slim Blueprint, and that social connection has really, really, really helped a lot, because you share pictures, you share frustrations. I've got a couple, buddies that we're kind of accountability buddies on the side, and I think that social connection is just putting it out there and saying, "Hey guys, I'm struggling," and what I've discovered you get this outpouring of love of, you can do it. You don't beat yourself up. You've got this. And it's just reminding those little things. And that's what kind of got me last night thinking again, was self-love and taking care of myself. Yes. And kind of reminding myself that every day, and kind of remembering those comments that some of those people said, that, it's just that social connection that, you're okay and you're not a terrible person, and just just stay focused. Yeah.
I love that the self-love. Food is like eating healthy is a way to love yourself. I think it's a really powerful sentiment and an idea. I really like kind of saying mantras to myself, where it's funny because I'm trying to think exactly the wording I said to myself the other day, but it was literally like, I don't need to eat sugar and chocolate to make myself feel better. I think that's literally what I kind of like, and I just will kind of repeat things like this. And back in the day when I smoked, like I would just acknowledge that I wanted a cigarette, and that made me kind of feel better. And so now I'm kind of just acknowledging that I want these things and trying to do this. My problem is a lot of times I just don't remember to say those things, and the good thing is whenever I'm driving or something like that, it's kind of impossible for me to just go look in the refrigerator or something like that. I'm driving, so I don't have access to any of that stuff. So that's the moment when I can be more mindful. And so that's something I thought was really interesting that I've dealt with. So you're getting lots of love. Go ahead.
Good. I keep a lot of those notes on my computer. Just different things to, the one that Lindsay really talks about that resonates with me is doing what you're doing today going to get you what you want, tomorrow or in the future. And I just keep reminding myself and two, she really focuses on the progress, not the perfection. And I think that for a lot of times we tend to kind of lose that self-love and caring about ourselves because we just want to be so perfect. And then when you're not, you just feel terrible. Mm-hmm. And it either causes you to fall apart more or just not feel good about yourself. And that's one of the things I've really worked on. And I think the community has really helped, is just focus on, making progress and just recognizing that, okay, I ate today. Here's why I ate. Okay, acknowledge it. Eat something better at the next meal. And, just focusing on that has really helped.
Yeah, absolutely. That's wonderful. One thing I want to kind of, would you recommend somebody who's kind of new to Meal Mentor or the community, maybe who hasn't started anything yet, would you recommend they start with the blueprint, or do you think they should go into the meal plans? Or I'm curious to hear what you have to think.
I think it kind of just depends on their goals. If somebody's new really kind of to plant-based cooking, they might want to start with the Meal Mentor just to get familiar with it and with the cooking and everything. If you're really, interested in kind of resetting, kind of rebooting, and kind of, you got those last couple pounds you want to lose, I think the blueprint is a really good way to kind of really refocus yourself.
Okay.
That's kind of what I would recommend.
Cool. Is there anything from the blueprint that you didn't like?
There are a couple things. I'm not a big curry fan.
Okay.
I've discovered it's just not a flavor that I really, really like. And the first week, I think there was a curry dish for like a Friday night dinner I had, and it was huge. I mean, the servings are huge. It was this huge bowl and all these vegetables in it. And I took some bites, and I was like, yeah, it's just not. And I wanted to put salt on it because I thought that would, enhance it. I'm like, well, that's not right either, because if I need to enhance my food that much, then it's probably not something that I really, really like. But then I remembered Lindsay's mantra of food is fuel, and so I ate, until I wasn't hungry. I didn't eat a lot of it, but I did nourish myself, and I was fine. I actually didn't even eat anything the rest of that night. I just like, okay, I'm fine. I had, there was a lot of good vegetables in it, so it was very filling. And I was like, okay, just not something I'm not a big fan of. And, I tried every recipe. And during the first 2 weeks, when I redid the blueprint a couple of weeks, I would just modify or pick another, recipe that I liked better, and, just kind of did it that way. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's not something we ask enough, and I want to ask more of. And that's, it's great to hear the feedback on that. So, how about with the meal plans? Is there anything that you don't like about the meal plans, or that you would like to see better?
Not really. I think it's just, the way I use them, I kind of pick and choose. I don't use the whole meal, like everything for the whole week. I'll look for one or two things that either my husband and I will like, or just, I want to try. So I like the variety that I can, you know what, I want to try this. And like this week's plan, I'm eating a ton of potatoes, not really on purpose, but there's a lot of recipes from but I like the variety. It's just, there's a lot of good flavors and just good things to eat.
Cool. So I know you've given us tons of great information about, getting started in the blueprint. Like, I would say, I want to hear what your advice would be to somebody who's just kind of getting started, not necessarily like recommending the products, but like if you're just getting started with this diet, what would be the things that you would kind of recommend to someone?
I would first tell people to be patient with yourself, just as you're trying new foods or new recipes, to give it a chance. If you don't like something once, maybe try it again. I did that with the curry dishes. I tried a couple of them. And just to really be patient with yourself and to give it a chance. A lot of times people want quick fixes. They want something to, done. I'm done in a week. It's good. This is for life. This is for the long run. So you have to really, I think, just be patient and give it a chance to work and be open to it. To really just be open to trying it.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you. I mean, I think, like I would like to encapsulate, everybody's, core lessons, and that's why that's my last question typically is to try to kind of send people off and be like, hey, if you're just getting started, here's my kind of, and so much of this is about like what the things you'd already talked about, self-love and kind of taking it slow and being easy on yourself, because this is a lifelong change, or it should be, right? If you want to maintain those results lifelong, you have to see this as something that you're going to do for the rest of your life,
Right.
So I guess the kind of the wrap-up question, because this has been such a great interview, I want to know who you think we should interview next.
Ooh, on the spot. I'm actually going to recommend Sarah Griffin.
Okay, wonderful.
I think I've been buddies with her, and she has a lot of great insight and a lot of great ideas and things that she's working through as well. So I think she's
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kirsten, for being here with us today, and I really appreciate all your insights and everything you shared. This is what these interviews are all about. Kind of highlighting the success that people have had from our community, and so people see and can share their own stories, right. And they can see the struggles that other people are going through, so that they're not alone. Because I think we often feel like my situation is so unique or so different that that I you don't work. You start off the interview by talking about how you work for a meat and dairy company, and so that's a challenge right there in itself. Being a vegetarian or at a vegan at a place like that, it's definitely going to be like get you some weird looks, or oh, here, try this sample of this new product, right? And it's like,
exactly.
well, so, and it's funny because we have known that at one point there was somebody who was a vegan that was like a meat buyer for Whole Foods or something like that. So I mean, it's random, the stuff that people have to go through. So, well, it was fantastic. I really appreciate this. This was a fantastic interview, Kirsten, and thank you so much for taking the time to do this today. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.